All right, welcome to Meal Prep Sundays with the DFAM. My name is Margot Drake. I am the mom. Behind me is Steve Drake.
Hi, everybody.
The dad. Stevie, Ellie, and Teddy have the night off tonight. But together we are the DFAM, a family for families. And each week we serve up healthy food, financial fitness, and fun. And tonight we are prepping paella and tapas with the Will Landreth. Hi, Will.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. So a little bit about Will is that he is a full-time photographer and videographer. He is a part-time kickboxing instructor at CKO Kickboxing, and that's where we met. On a good week, 3 days a week, Will kicks our butts really early in the morning. And he is a self-taught food aficionado. So tell us a little bit about how you got interested in making some great food, interesting, eclectic food.
Well, like what I was telling you earlier, when I was younger, I never really could eat like fast food or anything like that. It always would just tear my stomach. So I kind of had to learn how to cook out of like necessity kind of. And then my parents also were really good cooks. My mom doesn't really cook that much, but when she does, it's always like really, really nice and really like all 100%. And then my dad did a lot of the cooking, the day-to-day stuff. So I learned a lot through him too. And then I didn't know, I just kind of like doing it. I like cooking. It's fun to me. If you mess up, it's whatever. I'm not a pro, so it's like I got a little grace when it comes to that. But it's just a way to connect with people, and it's fun, and I like to do it. So.
Well, and share a little that story that you were talking to us about your relationship with fast food.
Yeah. Like I said before, when I was a kid, it just used to tear me up. Like my stomach, I never really could get along with it. And then recently I was on a shoot, and I had to, out of necessity, you got to eat something. So, Golden Arches McDonald's was there for a little bit.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
We're experiencing technical difficulties. Oh my goodness.
Hold on.
Hold on 1 second.
No worries.
1 minute. I am muted over here.
You have to stay muted.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
On your end.
All right, give me a test. Good? This has to be turned all the way down.
Can you hear us? Okay. All right. So, sorry, start again about, you said the fast food tears you up, right? So you never really ate it.
I was on a shoot one time recently, and it just like out of necessity, we had to get some McDonald's or just something because you got to eat. You know, you have to eat something. You have to have something in your body to fuel you. And, you know, a couple hours after, just really just tore up my stomach. I was just feeling really gross. So, no, I try not to eat fast food as much as I can because, again, it just hurts my stomach. So, again, that's why I got into cooking, and that's why I prefer to cook my own stuff.
Well, that's perfect. So you make good food yourself. And if you guys follow Will on Instagram, he takes great photos and great videos of everything that he makes. Do you want to tell people your Instagram handle so they can follow you there?
Yeah, at Will2Film. All one word, Will2Film.
And before we get started, we're going to give everybody a financial update. Each one of us in the DFAM has a financial goal, and each week we stay accountable to ourselves, to each other, and to all of you guys with an update on our percent to goal. We each have a different amount and a different time frame because we're all in different parts of life. So Steve and Margot are still at just over 1%. We have 4 years we've given ourselves for ours. Stevie Drake is at 22% already. Ellie Drake is finally on the map with 2%. So that puts Steve and I in last place. We've got to step up our game. Let's see. Teddy Drake is at 7.18% to go, and she's given herself until September 1st. We may have a few cameos today with some of the kids, either live or virtually. But other than that, it's go time with Paella. Who wants to talk first?
All right, it's
I
go
can take
time.
it if you want me to. Is that cool?
Yeah, you take over, and I'm just gonna follow your recipe.
Well, there was something that you
first thing we're gonna need.
You said it was sacrilegious to even do this without.
Yeah, you gotta have a little glass of vino when you're cooking paella, always. Definitely gotta have some. So I'm way ahead of you guys. Sorry. Good call, Margo. Good call.
First things first, right?
Good. So we got right, exactly. We got our vino. We're good to go on that now. So this is a paella pan. Obviously, this is what it looks like. It's got these short little handles on it. And it's very dense, very thick.
And you're going to cook in that,
you know, it's supposed to be flat, and it evenly conducts heat. Yeah, yep, I'm cooking this one, but if you don't have this, don't worry. You can also use a cast iron pan, which I actually made a paella earlier that I'll use that for that. But cast iron's always a good, that's my go-to tool in the kitchen all the time. If I always tell people, it's like, the house was burning down, I had to grab one thing out of the kitchen, cast iron pan. So that's your friend. If you got one of those, they're like 10, 15 bucks, I think. They're really cheap. So if you don't have a paella pan, don't worry about it. But we're going to use one today. But first, the first thing we got to do is the key with paella is like your mise en place has to be on point. And for those who don't know, it's basically like you got to have everything ready to go before you hit the fire, before you hit the stove, right? So what we're going to do first is chop up an onion. I'm going to chop up this onion first. And in my recipe, I say use 1 onion, but you could probably use about a cup's worth, or just kind of eyeball it to your taste. I love onions, so I typically use it quite a bit. Or just cut it up just like that. Nothing too crazy here. Start off with. Start crying first, me or you? Or you already cut yours, didn't you? So it might be me. I think it's gonna be me. Oh, so you're ahead of me. All right. So if I start crying, that's why.
We have quite a few live viewers watching both on YouTube and Facebook right now. And we have a young woman named Emily Ann who is so excited to learn how to make paella. And I have to say, Emily, I was too.
She better be. She's my girlfriend, so.
Oh!
Yeah. So I hope she's excited.
Yeah. So I've always been so intimidated about paella because anytime you go to a restaurant, it's always like you have to call in your paella order 3 days in advance. You know? So I always thought it was this really complicated dish. So thank you for simplifying, and thanks for joining tonight, Emily.
He's probably across the apartment.
Wait, Margot. The reason it takes so long is it's not because it's difficult. It's just one of those things where you got like low and slow. Take your time with it. It's meant to be like a process. It's not something fast that you just whip up really quick. You know.
Right.
Got to take your time with it. So I've just got like a pretty rough chop on my onions here. I don't know if you guys can see that. The light's a little strong. There we go.
Got it.
So
yep.
Onions are chopped. Let's move on to our garlic now, and we're just gonna thinly slice our garlic.
Hey, Will, you've got to
I
talk
normally do 2 to 3 cloves of garlic.
Oh yeah, when you get a sec, I want to hear about your fancy knife, Damascus steel.
Everybody talks about this knife. It's just we ordered this Japanese knife. I got this for Christmas actually. I've always wanted. I got a couple of Japanese knives. This one is a Takayuki knife. I don't know if you can see it or not, but kind of cool.
Oh yeah,
Damascus steel. Yep. Everybody loves this one. This is the Instagram
beautiful.
knife.
It's part of your photography. It looks beautiful in your pictures.
No, that's half the reason I love it too. Honestly, it's just because it looks so cool. I feel like a samurai with this thing. It's awesome. But then I've also got this this other knife over here. This is a shun knife. Let me see. And this is a Nikiri, so it's square. I don't know if you guys can see that or not too. So this is perfect for chopping.
Teddy and I went to, this is a side story. Teddy and I went to Japan for spring break, and we went to the museum, and they had a whole exhibit on Japanese swords, how they're made, the history, and it was so interesting. Teddy loved it. It was so cool. It's definitely an art form.
Absolutely, yeah. I was just there last year actually, and I loved every second of it. It was so fun.
I think Japan is a wonderful destination for a trip. Hey, guess what I found yesterday? At Martha's Vineyard. I got saffron.
Oh.
They have it. It's like the only
I'm not lucky. I don't have saffron today, but
it's the only place on the planet I think that has it.
I don't doubt it.
All right,
Okay,
well,
so
you
now we've got that chopped.
Onions, garlic.
What we're do is we're going to take some olive oil and we're going to bring our pan up to about a medium heat. We're going to get some olive oil onto the pan. Go real heavy with the oil if you want to. And guys, let me know when you want me to slide over to my camera or my food camera. Let me know when you guys want me to do that.
Do it whenever you want, because I want to see what's going on your end too. You have the food cam set up here?
Yeah, the food cam's on.
All right, I just put onions
cool
and
setup.
garlic into mine. I've got the tomato paste ready to rock and roll. Okay. I see how having a
The key with this stuff is you want to have it all nearby and ready to go.
Yeah, once you start, you can't take a lot of time to dilly-dally.
No, there's like a crucial period. It's about like 2 to 3 minutes of you just nonstop throwing stuff in, moving things around. So let's talk about meat real quick. So while the onions and garlic and stuff is going right now, I'm just kind of whipping up here a little bit. What's nice about paella is there's a lot of you can do like a traditional like Valencian paella, or you can do like a mix. This is it's what I want to teach you guys today is really just kind of like the basics. So then from there you can kind of build and do whatever you want with it. And the recipe that I shared with you guys is like, as I call it, Paella Americana. So it's like an American version of paella. A lot of the ingredients, from Spain, they're right on the Mediterranean Ocean there, the Atlantic Ocean right there. So they get access to a lot of fresh seafood. Whereas in Michigan, not as much, we don't have as much of that luck. So what a lot of this uses is a lot of like frozen stuff. You can also use, different types of meat. And today what I'm actually using is we're just going to use chicken breast. I've already cut this up, just cubed it up and or diced it into like little cubes. And then we've also got some Mexican chorizo, which you can get from, almost every like grocery store right nearby. So That's what I'm going to be using today, but that's not what you have to use. I've had paella with, like, traditionally over there they use rabbit, which is actually really, really good. And then I've also had it with snails, believe it or not. Snails like escargot style. So that's actually a pretty popular version over there too. It sounds kind of weird, but it's actually really, really good.
Oh, when they have it all laid out, it's just so cool to see all these creatures coming up. Margot's not a huge fan of eating things with heads on, so I've been pretty calm. I just got, like, literally at Meijer, frozen shrimp, which are perfect. Then she's not a fan of really rich sausage, so I didn't do the chorizo. I got some chicken sausage that's really spicy. Okay. So it's jalapeno chicken sausage. And we did it in the test kitchen, and it was awesome. She loved it. So that's about as exotic as we're getting this time.
Baby steps. But I do think the presentation can be so eclectic and so pretty when you're using different things that people like those things.
All right, I'm to the next step.
All right, I'm gonna switch my camera over here. So I'm gonna be 1 second. I'm gonna move us over to the stove here.
Oops.
Let's see, how's that work? Alrighty, can you guys see me? Yeah, we're good. It'll work.
Let's see.
So we got our pan going here. Onions and garlic are cooking. And once you start to smell that garlic, you really get that rich garlicky taste. That's when I'm going to add my meat now. So I'm going to add my meat into the pan.
Can we just sit down and drink wine and watch Will?
I know.
There you go.
I just have my wine and watch Will.
Emily, you can come over here and drink wine with us.
The Will Landreth show. Now this is why people
now.
There's the chorizo.
Yep. And I just put them both in together like that. And now what we're going to do is just kind of mash it together and get it one kind of consistency and lay it out evenly across the pan. Okay? Quick shout out if it's cool. If you want to get some great food and great products delivered right to your door, got to check out Burton Meat Farms. My buddy from college, Eddie Madeira, he runs it. Good friend of mine. He helps support me on my Instagram stuff, and I like to give him a shout out when I can. So Burton Meat Farms is a local business here in Grand Rapids. Go check it out, definitely.
Say, what is it again? Madeira?
Eddie Madeira. Yep, Burton.
Oh, that's Eddie Madeira. And what's the butcher called or the farm?
Burton Meat Farms. If you go, they're at Burton Meat Farms on Instagram. Go check them out.
At BURTON. Margot's going to put it up on the screen.
Love it. Perfect. Yep. Yep.
Awesome. All right. I got to get back to my pan.
Burton Meat Farm.
Oh, you're good.
I want to make sure this is the right one.
Mr. Eddie Madeira at Burton Meat Farm. All right.
That's your guy.
Yes, Grand Rapids. Okay.
Perfect. All right, so while this is going now, this is where we're going to get our S&P. We're going to season this up a little bit now. So I'm going to grab my salt. If you don't have a salt box, you got to get one.
A little wooden salt box. Cool. We've got a little heart on our.
Yeah. There you go. So we're going to season to taste now.
All right.
I'm going heavy on the salt and the pepper. So as that's going, you're just going to kind of occasionally just stir it around. And what we want for the chicken, we want all the sides to be have some color to them, but we don't want to completely cook it through yet, right? Because we don't want it to be just like rubber at the time by the end of this, because we're going to add a ton of broth. We're going to add the rice, and it's basically going to cook down all that rice and cook all the meat and everything else inside as well. So yeah, the first time I went to Spain, my host dad, he make this every Sunday, and this was kind of like their Sunday you know, Sunday dinner. The full day, it was a giant pan. It took over the entire stove, 4 burners, and he would make it for about like 6 people. And it was great because literally you just cook it in the morning and then you just leave it out all day. And when you get hungry, you just grab a spoon, walk by, take a big bite, you know, you can just, or you can make your own bowl. It just like, you can leave it out and it would be good like all day just to like snack on it for like 3 meals because it was such a big pan.
So were they keeping it warm all day, or did they just turn the heat off and then it went to like room temperature?
They would do both. So sometimes like if they wanted to heat it back up, you just turn the burner back on to like low, and then it would just keep it warm. Or they would just turn it off and then like periodically out throughout the day, you know, come check on it, things like that. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It always cracked me up too because he was a bigger guy. You know, he had a big old like beer belly. And he would just sit there or just stand at the stove because it's so hot. He'd have no shirt on and a glass of red wine just standing there cooking this paella. It was awesome.
Well, speaking of red wine, Steve, did you want to talk about?
So we were talking about this before. I am on an email list for Martha's Vineyard, which if no one's been to Martha's Vineyard in Grand Rapids, you got to go. It's awesome.
You said Martha Stewart earlier.
No, Martha's Vineyard. Did I say Martha Stewart?
You did.
I knew what he was saying.
I may not be on Martha Stewart's email list. I'm not going to say. But just that day, it happened to be a Spanish wine that they were recommending. And it was crazy because this is when we were just kind of doing our planning with Will. And they were talking about this wine is, I can't talk a whole lot here, you guys. This wine is actually really inexpensive too. It was like $10 for a bottle of wine, and I went and got it. It's so a Spanish varietal. Like we enjoy Chardonnay grapes and what's the other one? Cabernet grapes. That type of grape in Spain is called a Tempranillo. Really, really good. It's a very full-bodied red, like dark black grape. And it's really dry. That's one of the things that I thought was interesting. So if you like really bold, dry Cabernets, you would love this stuff. So that's what Margot and I are drinking right now.
Dude, it's my favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Spanish wine.
Yeah, so this one, the Tridente.
Yeah, that's what we're drinking right now.
Is much better. This is about a $17 bottle, but the one that they were actually emailing about is called Baron Delay. I'll bring both bottles up to the camera so you can see them. So this is the one that we're drinking right now. We had this on Friday. Which way do I go with it? There, we had this one on Friday night. This one's about $17. The one that they were emailing out is this one. This is Baron Delay, and this is only about $9. So you can definitely taste a difference when you're tasting them next to each other. They're both great, and if you didn't have this one next to this one, you'd love it.
Hey,
all right. So now our meat is kind of like we have some color in our meat now. Oh, yep. Go ahead. Sorry.
I had a question. At what point do you put saffron in this whole thing? Like when you add all of the broth?
Yes.
Okay. All right, because I didn't do it last time. I couldn't find it.
I'll show you. So now what we're gonna do. This is kind of the part where we can't step away. We gotta have everything right next to us, right?
Yeah.
So now we're gonna take our tomato paste, big spoonful, big dollop of tomato paste, right in the middle of the pan. Clear yourself off some room in the pan there for you. That's gonna go right there. Next is the rice. So we're using short grain rice here. Short grain rice, not long grain. So if you can't find short grain, look for risotto rice. It's basically the exact same thing. That's what I'm using here today. Now that rice is gonna go right in the middle of the pan, just like that. Yep, Arboro, that's perfect. I use that all the time. Yep. Now that rice is in the middle, and now we're gonna stir it in there and just kind of evenly coat everything on the inside here. So we want it to be a good mixture, no clumps of rice anywhere. We want the whole thing to be unison and covering the entire pan. And really stir up that tomato paste in there, get that rich, like red color. That's what we're looking for. Oh, really want to get that involved. So really stir the crap out of it.
Okay. Sweet.
Perfect. So now we're gonna let this toast for like for about a minute or so. We don't want to burn the rice. We just want to get a little flavor into it. I'm gonna move my camera over a little bit here. So this is kind of what we're looking for. That kind of consistency.
Okay.
A little bit like that. Yeah.
Got that.
So now
Here, give me the food can.
now we're gonna deglaze. After that, we hear that toasting going now. So now we're gonna deglaze with a little white wine. White wine goes in. You're gonna hear that simmer. That's what we want. About a cup of white wine. And you're gonna hear that going. Now from here, we're gonna add a little paprika. I'm gonna give it one more big stir. So see, this is how we build our that crust, that base. We want to get that little bit, all that sticky stuff. We're gonna give it one more final stir. And from here on out, we're not gonna move anything on this pan. We're just gonna let it sit. Set it and forget it almost, or basically, okay? So everything's nice and even. Okay, from here now, we're gonna add our broth. So chicken broth goes in.
And if you could make a veggie version of this,
Really, that's what we want.
Right? Veggie broth and then a bunch of vegetables and maybe some tempeh or something.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Move this here. Gonna get a little bit more broth in.
Okay, here's my broth.
That's
Hold on one second. I have to run the display.
All right, so our broth is in now. So from here, we're not touching the meat or the rice anymore. We're gonna let that sit, okay? But now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in our veggies, and we're gonna also add in our shrimp. If you got shrimp with you guys have shrimp today? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where you kind of can have some fun and decorate it a little bit, but I'm gonna throw in my green beans first. Green beans are going in.
Me too.
She's got the green beans.
Gotta get the veggies in there. Yep.
I am the sous chef today.
And
I'm gonna throw in some frozen peas and then my shrimp right here. Pull them out of the fridge. And I like to use frozen peas because, again, all this stuff is going to reduce down and it's going to cook this entire time for the next, 30 to 40 minutes. So you don't want to use like really, really fresh veggies because they'll just go to mush if you just let them like cook and reduce like that. So stick with the frozen stuff. Same thing goes with the shrimp. Some people get freaked out a little bit by the frozen shrimp going in, but again, it's going to be in there for so long and it's going to reduce down and cook all the way through. If you just use regular shrimp, like unfrozen, they would just literally just, completely be like rubber by the end of it. So we're going to use frozen today.
That is a great tip.
And again, we're using stuff that like we have readily available. Now, obviously it's not super traditional because, in Spain they have fresh seafood. They're not pulling stuff out of the freezer, but we're making it work for us, all right?
so this is what saffron looks like. It comes in a little container and they're threads, little teeny tiny threads, and you can't even see it very well. You know what? Turn the food camera on. No.
And that is a key staple of Valencian paella is saffron, having those saffron threads in there.
So how much should I put in there? Well,
A pinch is normally pretty good.
I'm going to do like half of this thing.
My shrimp is in. Everything's looking good here. I'm going to switch my camera over in 1 second here. And you put these shrimp in, you do want to kind of dunk them just a little bit because you don't want a frozen part sticking out. You want everything to cook through thoroughly. So if you see them poking out a little bit, just give them a push with your finger or a spatula or something and you're good to go. All right, so this is what our paella looks like now that we've added our shrimp, our beans, things like that. Got a good color going to it. The smell is dynamite right now. I'm sure it smells good over there too.
So pretty.
So we're going to crank up the heat a little bit now, just a little bit. And now the nice part about this is you just let it sit. All you got to do is let it sit, and occasionally, because it's a small, I have a smaller burner, so I'm just occasionally going to spin it and rotate it so it cooks evenly. But what we're going to do is just let this sit and reduce all the way down and cook that rice down. Like the same process if you ever made a risotto before. It's the exact same thing. You just let it cook down low and slow. And this is what we were talking about earlier, Margo, why it takes so long is because this is a key process. You just got to let it cook, let it do its thing. Now, this is the part in the day where you pour another glass of wine, or you start chopping up, your other ingredients that you're going to throw on top, or you make your tapas or your pinchos or something like that. So this gives you time to kind of like decompress. The hard part's over now. We got through the hard part.
We have all of the above. So I'm chopping the veggies for the week. We have our tapas back there. And what I love about this dish is that you make so much of it, and it's one thing, it's simple. We can talk about a couple different ways to enjoy it. And then with the tapas, you can kind of mix and match all week, what a couple of your hors d'oeuvres are going to be. It's interesting. When Steve said he went to Spain did you talk about that already?
No,
Talk about that a little bit.
So
we'll talk about tapas and what they were when you were in Spain and what they've turned into.
Tapas in the United States, I think, are different than tapas in Spain, because when you are in Spain and you have tapas at a bar, it might be a teeny tiny little tray of peanuts or olives, or it's very, very small.
You mentioned pistachios?
Pistachios, right. But in the United States, now we've got these tapas places, and they've gotten pretty sophisticated. Like what they make, they're like mini full-blown dishes. And paella is not a tapa by any means. But what they'll do is they'll add some sides, and they'll be really, really simple. So that's kind of what we did with our dinner. We added like Marcona almonds, some roasted red peppers, and it's totally just like finger food to go with, the big party, which is the paella. What else? And olives. Those are the three things that we put together. And then a fresh baguette. That's it. So it's really simple.
Cheeses. We have 3 different.
Do you guys know the difference between tapas and pinchos?
Nope. Educate us.
Tapas is like what you were saying, Steve, just small little plates of it could be a million different things basically. But a pincho is P-I-N, I think it's T-X-O, if I remember the spelling correctly. Pincho is like a small little plate, just like it looks like tapas. It's kind of the same thing. However, it always has a toothpick through it, and it's always like stacked like that.
That's how it is.
That's the difference between tapas and pinchos. Yep.
So pincho is like a little shish kebab, a mini shish kebab.
Yes, you totally ruined it, but that's basically what it is as a visual. I love how they eat
you guys
in
can
Spain.
See.
It looks good.
What we got going on over here?
Looks good. All right. Mine looks right.
I wish you guys could smell.
Occasionally rotate it, like I said before, just to make sure we're getting that bottom.
So one of the things
we got to talk about the crust, right? Don't we, Steve?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and explain the crust, because the crust is very special.
Here. You have a visual.
Do we have the test crust ready?
We have the test crust.
I'm gonna get the food camera.
One of the trickiest part about making paella is forming this crust at the bottom, and it looks like it's burnt. It's not burnt. That's the good stuff. That is like heaven right there. All the flavor that we put into this, and it reduces down, and it cooks down, makes that little crust at the bottom. That's called the sakarat, and it's like I believe it's a Catalan, just like the thin crust, and it's just pure flavor, pure amazingness, and you want that. Now,
so good.
You guys nailed it. That was perfect. It's a very fine line between burnt and perfect. So make sure you keep an eye on it, and I'll give you some some tips on it, on how to get perfect every time. But
that was, oh my word. Sorry. Hold on, we're gonna take the food cam off for a second.
It's my mom calling.
Oh, Bubby. Bubby.
She is a guest chef.
She was a guest
She
chef.
has special.
We had an amazing time in Florida. So when you have, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different devices, something is going to go south. And then plus yours on your end. So we packaged up some of our test kitchen paella for Stevie. And when I was packaging it up, I thought, he's never going to take the time to listen to what that crust is all about. And he's going to think that we packaged up the burned part for him. So this is Stevie's.
Yeah.
He may or may not be stopping in to pick this up on his way to do some more work tonight. He's going to his workshop. So this is for Stevie, but that whole dish is of, yeah, the good stuff, and we just knew he wouldn't probably believe us with the explanation either. So Steve will eat this.
If you're listening, Stevie, definitely eat that. That's the good stuff. You got hooked up. Thank your mom on that one.
Well, the nice thing
So
about
right now,
doing,
too, what I'm just doing is I'm oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh, I was just going to add, the nice thing about being so consistent with meal prepping is that you not only have plenty of food for yourself, and we have never eaten so eclectically ever in our entire lives. It's been so fun to have new flavors and new dishes every week, especially when we have guest chefs coming on to share your favorite recipes with us that we've never made before. So that's been really fun. And just to have a refrigerator full of amazing homemade, just really, really good, delicious food. So we've loved that. And you also have some to share. Like, we always have food to share. So it's been fun to be able to share it with my mom, with neighbors, with our kids. Kind of like having a garden. When you have a garden, you definitely have enough for yourself and enough to share.
Yeah, what's nice about this dish too is it feeds so many people. It really does. I mean, I've fed at least, some of the bigger paella pans, you can feed up to like 20 people. You could feed a whole party because they get really, really big. But this will feed 5 to 6 people, at least probably pretty fairly easy.
I also love how in Spain everything slows down with food. I mean, dinners take hours, but you're sitting and talking and drinking and eating good food, and it's just a fun experience to really slow down how you eat.
Oh, absolutely. It's the way to do it.
It is.
I'm just slicing up some tomatoes and some lemon wedges, and that's going to be our garnish for later on. And then I'm also going to be chopping up some parsley, some fresh parsley to throw on top. Got to hit with the fresh parsley.
We got it covered.
Perfect.
So Will, let's talk about a couple different ways. I mean, you already talked about a couple different ways you could make the paella differently, but you gave us an idea on how to use paella, and we did it this morning. So did we talk about that yet?
We did off camera before we went live.
It's good breakfast leftovers. It's awesome. That's what's great about it, because it does stay, and again, it's kind of like a risotto. It's kind of like a baked kind of dish almost. So you throw scramble some eggs in there, a little hot sauce if you want to. Like, it's a great breakfast the next day too.
Yeah. So Steve heated it up and then put some eggs in it for me, and then I had it with sriracha.
Perfect. I'm more of a tapatio guy, but sriracha's good too.
Did he say? What do you say?
Tapatio. It's another hot spice.
We have every kind of hot sauce here.
We've got Valencia, and our son just loves Cholula, and our daughter likes
Cholula's the best. Yeah.
Sriracha.
Nice. So guys, if you're interested for the next one, I just actually made ramen. I made ramen recently, and that's kind of been the new thing that I've been getting into is ramen. Ever since I went to Japan last year. Yeah.
Ramen's
if we want to do another one, I think that's the next one.
All right, cool.
Sounds
That's something
good.
though that you eat it. It's fresh. You eat it right then and there. But it is a fun thing to have like everything prepped that you can make it in 2 seconds.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
We used to do ramen dinners, so like my hope is that busy parents watch this and they see how they can just spend 1 hour having fun in the kitchen together with their kids, because kids can definitely help too, and then be able to eat it throughout the week to make everyone's life easier, take stress off, and also save time, money, and energy. So we used to do ramen dinners. And it was fun because it was kind of like a DIY, like bar. It was like a bar, like we set up like a salad, like you would think of a salad bar. We just set up all these chopped up things, and then people all of our kids could go through and make what they wanted. So I love that idea.
Absolutely, yeah.
I made it for them though.
How's your guys' paella looking? It smells amazing in here.
Yeah.
Let's get the food cam going again.
All right, turn it on.
There, you're on.
There we go. Looking good. Looking good.
How's that for a boil? Well, look at ours.
Yeah, yours is roaring. That's good. That's nice.
That look okay?
Yeah. Yep. And you're just gonna occasionally rotate it. Just give it a. You just don't want it to get too dark in one spot, obviously. And
So
normally too with these paella pans, they'll come. You can order it with a burner, like a propane burner that goes underneath it, and that'll keep the heat nice and even. Obviously, we're just kind of doing the at-home version, but that's another option too.
I've had it easy tonight. All I've been doing is just chopping up our veggies for the week. So our veggies for the week are cucumbers, carrots.
You gotta explain to Will what that is.
Well, this is meal prep, so we're just trying to put some snacks in the refrigerator, easy, healthy, high fiber, high protein snacks. And so this week is cucumber, carrots, yellow pepper, bell pepper, and then also celery. And if you're gonna be chopping fresh veggies and putting it, in the cups like this, they're only gonna last a couple of days. So I'm not cutting up everything. I'll cut it up again on Wednesday. And the nice thing is we talk about marketing food to your family. You want to keep it at eye height, and you want to keep it colorful, make it pretty. You can use vases, you can use cups, you can use mugs, whatever will put it right in front of their face and make it pretty for them.
Trust us. We've been successful at that.
We've tried all the things. Will, you're like this, not being a fan of fast food. I took Stevie once, again, like my rule with fast, like what I say about McDonald's is for deposit only. They just happen to have really clean bathrooms, and we do a lot of road trips. But one time I was stopping at a Burger King to let Stevie use the restroom, and it was when he could read, and he looked at the sign and he said, "Mom, what's a Whooper?" And I thought that as a mom,
Whooper, nice.
that gave me a gold star. He had no idea what that was. What's a Whooper?
What's a Whooper? I love it.
Oh man, it's looking good.
Oh man, I know this is torture. This is the hard part because it smells so good. You just want to dive into it, but. And as you can see, that rice is starting to really like soak up all that broth, all the flavor, all the seasonings that we put in there. It's also absorbing the seasonings from like the chorizo and everything, so it's starting to expand a little bit. You seeing that, Steve, on your end?
Yup. It was interesting. Before we did this, Will, I went out and searched like, is it, because we have a bunch of different rices here at the house. So
Yeah.
I just was wondering, hey, what if I use basmati rice? So I started Googling it, and it's like absolutely no way. You cannot use an instant rice. You can't use a long grain rice. It has to be a short grain rice. So like you said, it's got to be some rice that would come from a risotto dish, or that stuff that I had is perfect. And it's like what works in this sort of long cooking method. Otherwise it'll turn to mush, and you don't want that. So
exactly, that's what I was gonna say. Is like the long grain rice is just not. It just doesn't hold up to it, so it just turns to mush. Whereas the short grain, for some reason, I don't know why. I don't understand the science behind it, but for some reason, it just is a little bit tougher. So it takes longer to cook. And then going back to why it takes so long, it's just a tougher rice. So you need to give it that extra time to cook down, and it's so much better.
That was surprising that was such an important thing.
Yep, you only make that mistake once when you go to eat your paella, and it's just
you make
just
paella
mush.
for people, and it's mush. You guys, I'm loving this wine. It's so good. All right. We invited Stevie over here for dinner.
We did invite Stevie.
Blew it.
I got the neighbors texting me like, "What are you cooking right now?" Because they can smell it on the other side of the apartment.
It's funny, we do our test kitchen usually in the morning when we get home from kickboxing. So in the morning, like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday morning, it's gotta smell like dinner. Like it was funny when we were doing Thanksgiving and when we were doing Christmas, it smelled like Thanksgiving, Christmas. It smells really good, like dinner first thing in the morning. All of our neighbors think the same thing. What is happening in there? It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Love it. Yeah, how are you guys liking kickboxing?
Love it.
Love kickboxing.
You love it. That last class.
So shout out CKO.
Yep. So we that's where we met Will. He's an instructor at CKO, and we always, because we're so close to it, go to the Grand Rapids downtown location. But they do have 2 locations here in Grand Rapids.
Well, and it's a franchise, so it's all over the place. But we also want it.
But what was I going to say? So that's where we met Will. But it's been highly modified through this shutdown. It's not like big, huge classes. It's very small, and what we can do in the classes has not been like we normally would. It's more of a strength class. So Will's like telling us, basically we're doing a strength workout, and Will's telling us what to do. We all have masks on, but they just opened up what we're allowed to do. So we've gone back to some of the original kickboxing format. And man, going back to that, it killed me. The cardio, I just lost it from not doing it. So we spent the week this week trying to get back on the ball, but tomorrow's going to be tough. We'll get it.
Yeah, we'll get it.
But we love it.
Just keep it up, man. It's tough. It's tough, but you just got to keep it up. Love it. Well, we love having you guys there, so it's awesome.
Well, you spin good tunes, so that's the other reason why we like it.
So good.
Yeah, you guys missed out. You guys missed it. We had a new I got a new playlist. I premiered it this morning, so Tuesday you'll have to come check it out.
All
I'll
right.
play it for tomorrow. I can play it tomorrow too.
Yeah, do that tomorrow morning.
There we go.
Okay, so I want to show everyone what happens when you don't use your DFAM shopping list and you don't look through your refrigerator before you go to the grocery store. Steve and I were standing in the grocery store in the produce section having a fight over whether we needed more kale. And this is our kale for the week. So do you think we needed more kale? And we ended up with 5 humongous cucumbers. So use your shopping list, look before you go, then you don't end up with 5 cucumbers and a whole bunch of not so great kale.
So Margo, I got a question for you. My girlfriend and my friends always give me crap about this, but like I swear I get all the veggies in the world, but my fridge is where veggies go to die. Like they're in there a day and then they're toast like the next day. It drives me nuts. So do you guys have any like tips or anything and like you could help me out with that?
Yeah, so if you're going to make them pretty and stand up like this, and this is more for like a family where they have you know, especially now, maybe the kids are going to school at home. This is going to last like a day or two. And so this will really only last like a max of 2 days. The minute you wash your veggies, you're starting to wash the, not things that the produce department puts on or that the company puts on, but the, like Mother Nature puts certain things on, I can't remember off the top of my head, that keeps the veggies sealed and fresh. You start washing them off, they're going to start decomposing quicker. So the minute you wash, so don't wash them until you're ready to use them. That's one tip. The second tip is if you cut them like this, put them, the harder veggies, the more veggies that have more structure, like a carrot or a celery, that goes in water. The cucumbers and the peppers don't go in water. And then also if you submerge them in water, like last week we did our veggies in a like a 9x14 glass Pyrex dish, and they were all laying down. We put them in water and then we put ice cubes on the top and put those in the fridge. That'll last a little bit longer, but they really only last a couple of days. So I chop veggies on Sunday and then I'll chop veggies again on Wednesday.
Awesome. Good tip. Thank you. Man, this is looking good. I don't know about your guys's, but mine's looking pretty wild right now.
So here's a question.
Ooh, we only have 9 more minutes.
Mine, so yours is still bubbling. Mine is done bubbling, but I know there's still liquid down in there. How much longer?
So
how much longer do you like that?
This is the part where it's a little bit tricky. So my advice, the way I normally do it, is once you see the bubbles go down, you can still hear it. That's when you're getting close. Once you start to smell or just hear like the bubbles are just getting like fainter and fainter, that's when you kill it. And then what we're gonna kill the heat. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take aluminum foil and cover the top, right?
Okay.
And that's gonna be the final kind of like baking period where it's gonna really trap all that moisture in there, the steam coming off, and it's just gonna bake and form that crust at the bottom and keep everything nice and warm on the inside.
Okay, got it.
This is
so you might be a little ahead of me, but you can use it.
Too many cucumbers for 2 people.
That's just the right amount of cucumbers.
Especially since I already cut one up.
We'll eat them because they go in every salad we make. So what'd you do to the sink?
All right. So Steve, if you want to take a look here.
All right, let's see.
Everybody else too. So we're getting close. I'm starting to catch up with you a little bit here. So we still have some bubbles.
Yeah.
Right. So once those bubbles start going away, and we're just hearing, you know, like I was saying before, we're just hearing the kind of the popping of that little amount of broth still in there. That's when we're going to get ready to get our aluminum foil and get all that stuff ready to cover and then finish it. Okay.
I did mine in a big pan, a big saucepan. So if I just cover it with the lid for the saucepan, is that fine?
Yeah, you can do that. I've just always traditionally done it with aluminum foil. So
I figured because your pans like
pans, they don't come with lids.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So they normally don't come with lids, but I think that would work fine.
Okay. I saw your little coffee pot, your espresso coffee pot on your stovetop. That's so cool.
Pot here? Yeah.
It's pretty. It's just everyday things that guys do in their apartment.
Not really.
All right, I'm getting down to.
Does this have to be refrigerated after we open it?
I'm deciding on the pop. Come on.
Okay.
I think I'm about 2 minutes from putting the lid on this baby.
Okay. I'm getting close there too. I'm getting close too.
So I'm gonna show everyone what this looks like.
Yeah, we've got 6 minutes to wrap this baby up.
So if you can see this, if I can get in there, I can hear it, and it's still like cooking down in there, but it's getting to the point where I think I'm about ready to pull this baby.
I trust you. I trust you.
I kind of, well, maybe not. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes.
All right.
Because if I go down there something, I could see a little. Man, it's so good, so good.
It's you guys. I wish.
All right, no.
Will hit it on the head. He said it's dynamite. It smells dynamite. It does smell dynamite.
All right, we are.
So I'm going to tell you the 3 different kinds of cheeses. I went to this really great boutique kind of market, Martha's Vineyard, and asked them to help me with Spanish cheeses. I'm a girl. I don't know much about Spanish food. I rely on Steve for that. And I will tell you what they gave me. All right. So we have Manchego, which is this one. Manchego. And then we have Petite Basque. Right here. Petite Basque.
Drop it a food camera.
Yeah, food cameras. And then we have Mejón Parado. Am I saying that right? Mejón. This is Manchego. This is Petite Basque. And then this is, do you want to pronounce it for me? Mejón?
Mahon Curado.
Okay.
All right.
There we go.
One of my favorite cheeses.
What
Look
is
at
your...
all this stuff looks
So I'm getting
good.
close to here. I'm getting close here too, Steve.
So it's about 10 minutes, right? So that means that we are gonna run out of time.
Between 5 to 10, so we're getting close, yeah.
However,
Yeah.
like all good cooking programs,
We have... Ta-da!
Will made us a mini version.
That is done. So look at that. We made something that so many people think is so complicated because when you order it at a restaurant, it does take extra time. Will let us know that it's just the cooking time that's complicated, that takes a little bit longer. It's not a complicated dish. You can mix.
Well, just for time's sake here, I'm gonna pull mine too, just to show you guys, just so we don't get cut off here.
Okay. Oh, I love that pan. That's so cool. Very good.
We're still seaming.
Look at that. Oh, it looks amazing.
Cheers.
Wow.
So now, while we got this, while we still got a little time here, all the garnishings and stuff that we made, like the tomatoes, the lemon wedges, you just kind of put that and decorate your paella however you want to. So I'm just going to go around in circles here, do the speed version quick.
This is a great way to get a lot of, I mean, people would be impressed. If you have a little dinner party and have this, bring it out, they don't have to know how easy it was, right?
Oh, you blow people's minds, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Blow their
Absolutely.
minds, right?
I love the fact that you have the paella pan. Did you tell us, did you buy that yourself or did someone give it to you as a gift?
Parsley.
Myself, when I got back from Spain, I had it and I was like, I got to learn how to make that again. So here's our finished.
Voila. Oh my
I don't know
gosh.
if you guys can see that or not. Yeah. Oh, losing the lemon. There we go. Got it. There we go.
Oh, that is so great. Hold on one second.
So cool.
Hold it up
Easy.
again. Take a screenshot.
We got to have you hold it up one more time.
I hope you don't burn yourself. Are you
1,
okay?
2, 3.
There we
Good, I'm
go.
good.
Got it. Got it.
So good.
Love
Oh
it.
my God, that is amazing. And we have all of our tapas out. Steve has his garnishes all cut and ready to go. So we just have a couple more minutes.
Yeah, I'm probably about 8 minutes away. This is where, like, I want to look at it, but I don't want to look at it.
You want to get in there and just dive in, but you got to let it sit for a minute.
Oh, because it's too
Torture,
hot.
it's I know.
Oh my gosh.
All right, you guys, we are at the top of the hour. Do either one of you want to? You can just chill.
No.
You can do that. He is bent on finishing this, so he's garnishing it. So,
Okay, just
Will,
stop
if you eat this too early, the meat is not cooked, right? So that's why you can't eat it too early.
No. It's got to all melt together.
It's just you want to get that crust on the bottom, so you got to let it sit and just don't mess with it. You know, just leave it alone. But it's like Steve though. It smells so good. It's torture. It looks like you just want to eat it right now, but you got to let it sit for a minute.
All right, I'm adding the food cam. So.
All right, I'm just gonna bring it over here.
Oh, okay.
But.
He's all about finishing, so I'll take the food cam off.
So, ours is this is a good lesson, and you mentioned your cast iron pan. We just did ours in a big saucepan, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah, here's the one. Here, I'll grab it real quick. This is the one I made earlier with my cast iron. So I didn't have time to do this one yet, but similar thing. You know, just kind of coats the bottom of the pan.
See,
same thing.
That's
perfect.
And that would be good for a family.
So
oh, absolutely. Yep.
So we have our cut veggies. Oh, the other thing that went out in the email are the hard-boiled eggs. You can hard-boil them and peel them yourself, or you can buy them hard-boiled and peeled to save you time. So we have our protein. We have our fiber here with the veggies. We have meal for days, depending on how big your family is. I mean,
that looks
so good. And you can make as much of that as you want at the same time.
So good.
So,
Will, thank you so much for being on this with us. We really appreciate it. Appreciate learning from you. And everyone, go check Will's workout. He does an awful lot of things in a day, way more than we do. So there's got to be something that you're going to connect with, including you are a sneaker aficionado, right? You love sneakers.
So yeah, I'm a bit of a sneakerhead. Yeah, yep.
That's on there. It's on Instagram. So check him out. It's Will to Film, at Will to Film.
That's Instagram.
Instagram.
WILLTOFILM. And just yeah, if you guys any videography or photography work, my link to my portfolio is in my biography. Quick shout out to again Burton Meat Farms, awesome company. Go check them out for any online food that you want, and then for olive oil, Vitaloni olive oil. Go check that out as well too.
Vitaloni, all right, noted.
And let's say hi to your mom. She's watching. Bubby.
Oh my gosh, how is she watching?
Bubby's watching. Teddy
That's
hooked
so
her up.
cute. Salud.
Salute.
Thank you again, Will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everybody for joining us.
Thanks for having me so much.
We're gonna sign off. We'll see you later.